Peace and light. This is Dr. Frances Kress Welsing. It's called Being Serious in 2013. This is part 2 right here. And it says, what's up with, oh well, I'm not going to worry about all that. But anyway, what I want to say is that this lady right here that you get ready to hear, Dr. Frances Kress Welsing, she got a book called The Isis Paper, the Keys of the Colors, the Keys to the Colors, I think it is. And on the name of the book, I think her title, her name is Dr. Frances Kress Welsing. And I read her book when it was a while back. But anyway, I really loved that book and this lady. And some of the stuff she's talking about on here is really good stuff. You know, it really touched me. Everything, it's like I say to you guys, a lot of the people whose books I read and who DVDs I watch and everything, they are like totally unlike me. You know, they won't use profanity and do the insult name calling and all that stuff like I do. And you know what? I respect them for that. I really do. And what I'm saying to you, one of the reasons that I don't belong to any religious affiliation is because, first of all, I don't have faith in religions. I don't, because all religions today have been tarnished by Western influence, one way or the other. All of them. If you are a unit in America or anyone on the planet that is trying to return to a state of being a nation that was destroyed by these Europeans, you better believe they're going to be throwing everything in that they can to keep dissension alive. And I know that. That's the reason I say, you know, I know for a fact Christianity, I'd be an idiot to even start there. You know, that'd be like a person that doesn't like women wanting to go to the freaking girl band camp or spend the whole summer at the Girl Scout camp. What the hell would he want to do that for? You know, that's what that would be like. I know what's up in the Christian church. What I'm trying to get away from, worshiping and being victimized by Europeans. And then I want to go somewhere where I see a big picture of white men on the wall and everybody praying to it. Of course not. I learned a lot of stuff from this lady right here. And I want to just let you all know that I really feel deep in my heart blessed that the universe put such a bright, shiny light on this planet for us to get instructions from. You'll see why I feel that way when you start hearing the brilliance coming from her. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, alright? Everybody listen. Shut up. And I was going to cuss, but I'm not. Because I know this lady is very, very divine. And just for the non-tarnishing of her spiritual essence that she's going to bring, I'm going to behave today. Alright? Peace and light.
With a lot of black people, if you don't understand racism, everything else confuses you. And going to see a film like Django Unchained for a lot of black people, and as you were saying, like us getting emotional and caught up in something that we really don't understand and thinking that this is a great strike against racism, white supremacy. You stressed, and I was hoping you could convey this to our listeners, you stressed the importance of black people remaining calm and not letting their emotions get the best of them, just staying calm and just using their brain computer and processing all that. And I wanted you to emphasize that again for our listeners.
Well, how can I say it? It's like, you know, just running out and being emotional and killing people. That's not the answer before you try to understand what is really going on. And black people need to do a lot of focusing because we have been so damaged and brainwashed. See, black people are the people that are most heavily attacked by racism, white supremacy, because as black people we have the greatest genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation, which is what black people learn before they learn how to read. If you're black, get back, brown, stick around, yellow, mellow, white, right. That's the color code for white genetic survival. The heaviest attack on the people who have the greatest genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation. It's like Senator Harry Reid slipped up and said what he was thinking, that if President Obama had been darker, he wouldn't have been president. See, the more color you have, the greater the fear that people who classify themselves as white, because it's the greater the genetic potential to cause white genetic annihilation. So we have had a thunderous attack on us as black people for the past 500 years, coming up to the present, where black people have been psychologically programmed through psychological warfare and entertainment to call themselves niggers and bitches and hoes and gangsters and thugs and dogs. Now, any people who in their minds are thinking that it's okay to be called a nigger, it's okay to be called a bitch, it's okay to be called a hoe, it's okay to be called a gangster, and okay to be called a thug, they have been critically damaged psychologically.
And that's for sure, without a doubt, because I know myself, even as much as I try not to be using words like that, they still come out, because I'm 52 years old and I grew up with that type of language and that type of behavior all around me. And even now, at a time where the most important thing in my life is for me to be divine at all times, it's a big challenge. I've given up addiction to all kind of things. I'm still struggling with the marijuana, and in my true honesty, I don't think it's a struggle. I just say that because it's a lot of people like Dr. Frances Kress Welsing who look down on that, you know, but I find it to be very helpful to me in my state of all the things I have to deal with in this world. You know, I probably could deal with it without utilizing the meds through marijuana ingestion. But yeah, I probably could, but I don't want to. And that's in all honesty. But the truth of the matter is, maybe a time will come where my mind will be changed on that. But my thing is, when she gave a description of all of the idiocy that we involve ourselves with when we adhere to those titles, and even use them and address them, try to place them on other people. But then she go around and tell you the reason for it, because of all of the bombardment we get from this other culture of people who see it in their best interest to do everything they can to annihilate us so we can stop them from genetically annihilating, which doesn't make sense. And the reason, let me explain to you why. We don't have anything to do with that genetic annihilation. The problem is they aren't self-annihilating. The reason why is because they're barbarians, and then they regenerate slow. So that right there by itself will make sure that they have no other choice but to deteriorate off the earth. Plus they're not really wise, because if they were, why would you be for people that can jump in line, jump in the box with 1,000 people and be reproduced by mingling with them? But instead, your four ass want to sit there and become opposition and come up with this big, dumbass, elaborate plan to eradicate the large number of people that you should be joining. And then, so what if we destroy everything while we kill them? Just so our four asses can stay alive. See, this is psychotic behavior that we're dealing with, more than anything. So I just wanted to say she's absolutely right. We should never be using those words, applying them to ourselves. And I know I'm guilty of doing that. So I'm going to try harder not to do that. And I don't hate white people. I just had a job to do to try to help them see outside of the box that they were all in, and that you all probably still are in. That's all I'm trying to do, is show you from the other side of the gate, on the other side of the fence, how your behavior looks. That's all.
And will not end up doing constructive things for themselves and people who look like themselves. But if you can program people, you see, all you have to do in a system of racism, white supremacy, is give a whole lot of money to so-called entertainers and tell them to use this kind of despicable language. It's the same thing as, say, feed cyanide to your population in small doses. Because it will be easy for people with those thoughts, consciously, subconsciously in their brain computers, to go out and cause damage to one another. Whether they're shooting or killing each other, they will behave destructively towards one another. They will name call one another, they will squabble with one another, they will curse one another, they will be discourteous and disrespectful to one another.
And see, I'm guilty of that again too, because you all know I call people names and all that stuff that I just said. And you know what? Some people that I call names, I don't want to apologize, but I probably need to, because you shouldn't be doing that. And I should be trying to hold up my head and be living up to a higher standard. But I'm going to tell you, it's really hard not to express my distaste in people that I know is helping opposition commit slow murder and administering doses of cyanide to us, just like she explained. You know what's worse than calling somebody a dog or a nigger or a bitch or a slut? Is misleading them and fooling them into taking a drug that you know is going to slowly kill them, and at the same time you giving them a fake ass pseudo telling them that is going to be the only thing they need to answer all their problems. So, it's a lot of deep, resented hatred. That's not hatred. It's what it is awareness of the privilege to hate, but having to deal with that in a divine manner and not hate. But how do you fight that and combat that when you see the contribution of this person's harvest, what he's helping be planted, or what she's planting? The harvest of it is the reason why your whole progress is stagnated. And then you see drugs in your community and despair, and young girls smoking crack and wearing wigs, and all this shit contributed to a center in your neighborhood that you see is perpetuating all that shit. How do you not call those people names? How do you not? And how do they not know it's deserving of them when they hear someone call them that?
They will steal from one another, rob one another, fight one another, and kill one another. And this is what we see happening in our population. There are people who, of course, you say, oh, that person would never pick up a gun and hurt anybody. But they probably being discourteous or disrespectful to another black person. So these are behaviors that the system of racism, white supremacy, has conditioned in black people.
And let me explain something to you. Where I got the opportunity to, they use every time they get you in large audiences to do that. Perpetuate, subline, suggest. So now when you go into any of these big edifices around town, not only do they have whoever the preacher is preaching to you, they have the big film roll down thing, right, where you can see him up on the screen too, and then they could write letters or whatever and give you the information that way also. So see all this stuff that I'm talking about how they subline suggestions to you and make our little young men be gay, make the women be drug addicts, and create circumstances of hostility between couples. All this stuff they do through subline and by getting you in those churches. This is what I'm trying to point out, and that's the reason why I know for a fact that it seemed bizarre to claim to be a person that want to unite a nation of people and then say to one large group of people the fact that, you guys are so effed up. I don't